On to Ligue 1. And full disclosure, there's going to be no discussion about who wins the league here. We're going to do things a little bit differently with just the gap between PSG and everybody else. First, though, our summer recap. Speaking of PSG, your two notable signings, Vitinha from Porto, Nordi Mukiele from Leipzig. Those are the two guys that have come through to Paris so far. Couple departures to note real quickly. Monaco, of course, losing Aurelien Tchouameni to Real Madrid, and Chik Decore going from Lens to Crystal Palace. Now, there are other developments and transfers I want to talk about. We're going to save them for a specific storyline here, so we're going to jump right into the storylines, and we'll come back a little bit to transfers at the end. First storyline, Lyon, and to a certain extent, Marseille and Monaco as well. Lyon went from winning the league to 10th place. Lyon went from finishing 4th to finishing 8th. Marseille and Monaco were the two teams that then capitalized and got up there behind PSG. Lyon have done some very, very interesting things in the transfer window we're going to touch on in a minute. I fully expect them to be competing for second place. The whole Lille thing is just absolutely fascinating. That league title just came out of nowhere. And then you have to go play in the Champions League. And again, team without depth playing in Europe, you pay a price for that. Are they able to sort of regroup and benefit from the fact that they don't have those responsibilities now and focus on the league and get themselves back into the Champions League? Marseille were perhaps the biggest winners in all of Europe last year, outside of Real Madrid. Where they were with fans storming the training ground to finishing second, having a good run in Europe, things are in a much, much better place there. And Monaco are just sort of very quietly solid again after a little bit of a rough patch there. So really the larger storyline is who finishes behind PSG, what does that order look like? But more specifically, it's can Lyon bounce back and make that discussion interesting? Second, didn't spend much time on Christophe Galtier when he got the PSG job, so I'm going to talk about him here. Massive, massive fan of this hire. Here's why. PSG tried to go from big name to big name to big name, and it didn't work. Instead of going to another big name in Zinedine Zidane, they chose to do something different. I give them an immense amount of credit for that. It would have been easy to just get the highest profile manager out there you could. But now you have a guy who has excelled in all of the little things and the process and elevating players. Everywhere he goes, his teams just get better, and they get better quickly. See, Lille. And he knows this league inside and out, so if PSG is ever going to just obliterate the rest of the league, he's probably the guy to do it. Of course, this hire is about Champions League. There's Ligue 1 is a secondary concern and only gets discussed when they're not winning it. I get that. But there's value from that standpoint too if he knows all these teams. He's never had a job like this. And to me, that's exactly the kind of manager PSG needs. He's going to work with people. I just find it hard to believe he's going to have the same kind of tension Thomas Tuchel and Mauricio Pochettino had. And there does seem to be an acknowledgement within PSG they have to approach this differently. Very rarely do you see a team of PSG's resources and financial might acknowledge that throwing money at the problem is not going to fix it. There is a reason they have not been more successful in the Champions League. I really thought they had sort of turned a corner, and to a certain extent they did, but then they went backwards again last season. I am all about this hire. You've got very little to lose because you're going to win the league anyway. So why not go sort of in the complete opposite direction of what you've been doing recently? Now, the one counter argument I will provide is my thing when Pochettino got hired is he also made his living elevating players and getting the most out of teams and sort of getting them to overperform. He had never dealt with the big names and how to manage those egos and all that stuff. And of course, Galtier hasn't either. But if you're going to get two managers run out of town, the caliber of Pochettino and Galtier, because they don't know how to manage, because they can't get it to work with players, you got bigger problems on your hand than whoever your manager is. I'm a huge, huge fan of this, and I think it's going to work better than people even expect. We're not going to see it in Ligue 1. But to me, this is a home run and a sign that PSG have the self-awareness to realize they can't keep following the same formula because it's not working. We're going to try a different equation. And finally, here's where we're going to go back to the transfer window. This league has quickly accumulated a incredible collection of just kind of random bigger name players playing at clubs other than PSG, where you go watch them if they're playing in Europa League or whatever, and you go, oh, here are just some of the examples. Takumi Minamino, Breel Mbolo. Of course, Takumi Minamino coming from Liverpool, Breel Mbolo coming from Borussia Mönchengladbach, Champions League experience, plenty of European experience. Both at Monaco now. After Monaco had a very good season, bringing in two big-time attacking pieces. Joe Rodon is on loan at Rennes. Just throwing that one out there for Spurs fans. Then your most bizarre transfer of the summer, any league. Kasper Schmeichel joined Nice. He will be teammates there with Aaron Ramsey. Adam Buska from the New England Revolution and Brice Samba, who was Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, are both at Lens. And then we get to the Lyon portion of this. Nicolas Tagliafico, Corentin Tolisso, and Alexander Lacazette. That's, Arsenal's captain, a longtime Ajax player, and a valuable member for a while of Bayern Munich. This is why I'm really high on Lyon and think they're going to be the second best team in the league. And then one more to throw in there. Moussa Sissoko is now playing for Nantes. It just kind of conglomerated real quickly, and what got me thinking about this was the Schmeichel transfer. I'm just perplexed. Wish all the best to him. I don't get it. Obviously, more power to you. Do whatever makes you happy. I'm just confused as to why. But then I started going down the list, and I went, this is very quickly becoming a fascinating league in terms of just random players who are here. So that is the list I came up with of sort of bigger names, whether you know them from from Premier League or You know, Nicolas Tagliafico being at Ajax for so long, Adam Buska in MLS, all playing in Ligue 1. So if you're looking for a reason to tune in other than PSG, or a reason to tune in knowing PSG is probably going to dominate, hopefully that gives one to you. You get to see some familiar faces playing around the league at teams not named PSG.